Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the OpenText Live webinar series. My name is Gretchen Wurgis, and I'm the Senior Partner Training Manager for OpenText Global Partner Program. And this section of our OpenText Live series is presented by our very valuable solutions extensions partners. They are fantastic partners that we work with here at OpenText that on their solutions that we offer on our own price book, and we like to give them opportunity to explain those solutions and to give you kind of just insider insight into those valuable solutions. And before we get started, I like to remind everybody that we do record every webinar in our series, and we'll be sending out a follow-up email with links to the recording, but you will also be able to access the recording via the opentext.com/events page. And if you go there, you'll not only be able to see our historical recorded webinars, but you'll be able to see those webinars that are coming up in the near future. So check that out and see if there's anything else of interest to you. Also, if you have a question at any time during the webinar, we just ask that you put it into the Q&A panel, which is that little chat bubble icon with the question mark on it in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Click on that icon, put your questions in there, and we may be able to answer those during. We have some experts on the line who are able to type those answers in, and if not, we will be definitely able to answer those at the end of the webinar presentation during our Q&A portion. And with that, I would love to introduce from our fantastic partner, Answer Modules, Paolo Rimaldi.
Thank you, Gretchen. Good afternoon or good morning, perhaps also good evening. I'm Paulo from Answer Modules. I manage sales and alliances for Answer Modules. And on the line with me is also Patrick. He's our CEO and CTO as well. So I see there's quite a good turnout, and thank you obviously for your time. Today, what we'd like to show you, or what we'd like to discuss and show you, is how we can utilize AI tools, specifically large language models, in the creation of applications and processes, whatnot, on Extended ECM through our solution called Module Suite. So that is kind of the overall topic. Before we start, just gotta leave this disclaimer up, maybe just a few seconds more. I think that's good. So before we get into the meat of the discussion, let me provide a bit more of a formal introduction around Answer Modules. So as Gretchen mentioned, we are obviously part of the SolEx program, so Solution Extension, third-party technology. And we are focused as a company on delivering solutions and products specifically for Extended ECM and Content Suite. So these are our realm of expertise. In terms of the relationship we have with OpenText, quite a successful one, within the SolEx program, but over with OpenText. And one thing that I always like to point out is that we are certified for the OpenText Cloud, so CE editions, and we were the first SolEx partner to be certified in that aspect. That's from our partnership and who we are perspective. From a community perspective, our solution, excuse me, Module Suite is being utilized all over the world in every pretty much conceivable industry out there, and the community, the user base, is consistently growing. Quite a satisfied customer base and user base as well as a network of partners providing services around our technologies, including Answer Consulting, our affiliate company for services. So that's a quick glimpse of who we are. The solution that we provide is called, like I mentioned, Module Suite. And I just want to give this high-level overview for maybe those of you that have not heard of Module Suite before. Essentially, it is an add-on solution for Extended ECM, and its purpose is really to enable and accelerate digital transformation on Extended ECM, both when we're talking about on-prem as well as on cloud deployments. So what this means essentially is being able to build personalization solutions on top of Extended ECM. And the way we break it down really is Module Suite is a very efficient and effective means for creating tailored applications so that you're able to meet very unique business requirements on top of Extended ECM. So leveraging Extended ECM as a foundation and building and enhancing on top of that to meet your business requirements. Then also personalizing the platform. So personalizing Extended ECM and obviously Content Suite, personalizing it in terms of the UI, the automations, the business logic, also that it perfectly matches the way that your business operates and your specific vision of how Extended ECM should fit to your to your unique needs. And last but not least, from a more technical perspective, Module Suite does provide a collection of different tools, which essentially are a low-coding approach to creating and developing on top of Extended ECM. So this greatly reduces both the effort of creating your bespoke solutions, but also drastically decreases the efforts and cost of maintaining your personalized solutions over time. Now, part of these tools, and we'll speak about them a little bit, there's there's Content Script, which is a scripting solution. There's Beautiful Web Forms, which is a forms leveraging the form framework, but it is our let's say enhancement for forms and various tools. The reason I'm mentioning these is because we'll see them quickly later on. So essentially, this is what the Module Suite is about. It's about creating solutions, business solutions on top of Extended ECM and personalizing the platform to meet your unique needs in a very efficient and effective manner. But I think obviously the excuse me, the heart of today's discussion is really about AI tools and how we could leverage those within Extended ECM, specifically large language models. All these these AI tools, etc., they are really changing the paradigm of how applications and solutions are being built, especially when we're talking about the realm of low coding. And since Module Suite is about, like I mentioned, about creating applications on top of Extended ECM, we could not forego obviously these trends and these latest technologies. So we looked into how we could leverage them. And what we'll be showing you today is kind of three different approaches that we have, and these will become available with the latest release of Module Suite. But before we get into what the capabilities are, let me just make kind of a premise as to why this has become quite leveraging these tools has been quite easy, if you will. Maybe Patrick interject here as you're heading up the R&D, but I believe it was relatively easy to leverage them because of the way that Module Suite has been structured. So Module Suite is, like I have it on the slide, it is in a privileged position to leverage these technologies. And it really comes down to two points. First is the fact that the APIs of Module Suite, they're all based on standards, on, let's say, the latest standards and the latest trends. So integrating and obviously interacting with LLM tools was quite straightforward, was quite streamlined. And then more importantly is the fact that Module Suite does not leverage proprietary languages. So this makes it possible to really instruct, if you will, educate the LLM tools, as well as transfer the knowledge of how the Module Suite, let's say, operate to these tools. And obviously this also is facilitated by the fact that Module Suite, besides not using proprietary languages, it's also utilizing a low coding approach. So these are the two areas that really facilitated the use of these tools within Module Suite. So as I mentioned, there are three kind of key, or let's say macro areas that we want to discuss today. And let me start by introducing Carl, our cute little robot, and that we'll see Carl in different let's say, use cases. But one area that Carl obviously fits into is being a co-pilot. So being a co-pilot during the creation of scripts, forms, etc. So what we'll be seeing later is prompting Carl with an instruction saying, "Hey, Carl, can you please, create, or I need to create a workflow which has these steps and which then needs to do these sort of actions. Maybe it needs to send out an email to Paulo at these intervals, or at this say at this input." What Carl will do is essentially create the lines of code that I can review, utilize, etc. So Carl, in its first flavor, if you will, is really a co-pilot for the creation and the development process. But personally, as I'm sales, so I'm more of a business user, where I see Carl really benefit an organization from business perspective is definitely its ability to support and also enhance and improve the overall user experience. So I can have Carl help me with my daily tasks or with the way that I interact with the system. So my input is going to be supported by Carl, which is then going to be supported by Module Suite's overall automation capabilities to really streamline my daily work and, let's say, cut out any manual task or any more tedious task that I may have, all with the support of Carl. And last but not least, where we're also leveraging Carl is as a generic integration, a generic API integration. And one example that we'll be seeing is utilizing Carl to extrapolate information based on my, say, natural language query, the way I would ask a normal human, extrapolate information from documents or from content that is residing on Extended ECM. Maybe I have a report on there. Hey, Carl, can you extrapolate, please, or can you tell me the Q4 results of XYZ? And it's going to extrapolate that information from that content and essentially build kind of a base of knowledge for me as the end user. So these are kind of the three macro areas that we see Carl in play as of today. Now, next we will be seeing these examples. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling issues, we are not able to do this live 100%. We have recorded let's say the demos. They are unedited and uncut, so it's exactly what we would have been showing live. Patrick is also on the line, so if any questions come up, feel free to ask them in the chat panel, and we will get to those at the end. So with that, I think I will stop sharing. Pardon me.
So thank you very much, Paulo. As mentioned by your presentation, so today we are going to see several use cases in which we have leveraged our integration with LLM APIs in order to improve the way you can work with Model Suite. So one aspect that is very important is we have designed the integration as a standard Model Suite extension package, and we have designed it in order to be flexible. So meaning that for the time being, the service provider that we are integrating with is OpenAI, but the APIs have been designed to be provider agnostic. So as soon as other providers will be providing this kind of services, you will be able to decide which provider you want to utilize into your integration and to leverage these services. And we started obviously from OpenAI because from the enterprise market, in our opinion, is the best positioned. The API are basically the same as the one offered by Microsoft on their Azure platform. So the integration with the OpenAI APIs will be something that you will be able to leverage also if you are going to utilize a private instance of them on the Microsoft Cloud. One key aspect here is what made possible to integrate so quickly these APIs into Model Suite. So we stress out very often that Model Suite have been designed in order to reduce the complexity of working and developing and creating solution on the Model Suite, on Extended ECM. And we did this adopting standard languages, standard frameworks, and exposing to our developers and our users only solutions that were available on everywhere and were well known for industry standards. So this paid off because basically these very same large language models have been trained on the same body of knowledge that is available to all the users and developers, meaning that the technologies, frameworks, languages that we base Model Suite interfaces on are very well known by these models. So in order to explain them how to work with our solution, it was pretty simple because the syntax, the logic, and the frameworks were already well known by the model. Another key aspect is that we designed Model Suite in order to be able to receive knowledge. So meaning that we design it in order to be extensible. So the tagline of Model Suite has always been a value that grows over time. And because of two reasons. So first of all, because we are constantly investing in development, but also, and most importantly, because the customers, the partners that start utilizing Model Suite, they can transfer their knowledge into the application. They can create and customize and extend the solution to adapt it and to make it more valuable for their own domains. And this very same architecture allowed us to easily integrate with the concept of an artificial intelligence that can leverage the same knowledge, that can utilize the same information. As you will see with the first example that I'm going to show you, the integration, for example, in our IDEs is basically leveraging the same snippet library that we were offering to the users. We just decorated them in order to be more easily understandable by the AI, but is already a library that you can start using right away. And if you have built your own library of snippets, if you have created your own set of snippets adapted to your domain, you will be able to do the same thing. So you will be able to decorate with additional information your own snippets and starting working with the generative AI to create part of the application through that. So let me show you, first of all, an example of exactly that. So the integration in the IDEs. So if we open the content script editor, for example, so content script editor now has an additional tab here in the configuration. So this tab is available as you open the editor if the AI agent, the Copilot agent for Model Suite card has been enabled. So you have to enable it through the base configuration. Once you've done it, you will be able to work with it in your IDs. So for the time being, the only editor we have integrated CAR with is the content script editor. So you will be able to work with CAR in order to create your own scripts and to modify your own existing base code. In the near future, this very same integration will be provided also for the other editors, so the visual editors, the form builder and the page builder. And again, that is possible because, as you might know, we have APIs that we can utilize to build programmatically pages and forms. So these very same APIs will allow us to leverage generative AI model to create even interfaces. So how it works? So if you want to write something and you want to ask Carl for help, you have just to select the tab and provide a prompt. And if you haven't selected any snippet, what Carl will try to do is to find the snippet that are most relevant for the prompt that you provided, and will utilize them as a context for creating and adapting what you're asking for. So for example, if in here I'm asking something like create a form to allow users to request allows user to request authorization to participate to an organized event. So what the system is now doing is, again, looking for the snippets. And in this case, is on the create form snippet is the most relevant, and is basically based on that snippet is going to create the entire script that I can utilize for creating the object. So, and is first of all is going to provide you with the snippet, so the code. And this is not really the source code for the original snippet. It's an adapted version of that based on the prompt that you provided. And once the script is generated, you can just utilize it and copy it and pass it into the script editor. So this snippet is what I utilized to create part of the demonstration that will follow this example. So I created many of the objects that you're going to see today working with CAR in this way. Once you have created a snippet, you can also do other things. So this is a conversation, so you can do something like, can you please add exception handling? And what the system is going to do is basically in this case to provide you either an example on how exception handling should work, or is going to adapt the script that you provided in order to do the same thing. So what I can also do here is start a new chat, in this case, select the snippet in the editor and then ask CAR to do something. And again, what the system will try to do is, again, to provide you either an explanation on what to do, or you will change the script accordingly to your request. And as I mentioned, so it can be utilized to for a specific script or specific snippet, or in more generic way as I just did. So if we select a specific snippet, for example, this one, I can ask him create the script that sends email to info@answermodel.com with in attach all the documents in the documents folder. And again, the system is going, in this case, to leverage several snippets that we found relevant, and is going to utilize all of them in order to create the most appropriate snippet. So it's basically, in this case, utilizing obviously the snippet that I provided, and is going to work with in this case, the templating engine, and is looking for the attachments and is attaching each one of them. If I just utilize the snippet, so I will receive obviously a different result. So this is the standard code produced by the snippet just by itself. So as you see, the integration within the IDE will allow us to simplify the work. And again, the fact that it knows about the technology that ContentScript is based on allows us to ask him for generic questions, such as I need to chunk a long text into segments of 100, something like that. And what the system does is to provide an example on how to satisfy that same requirement and to use it in your script. So it's working. It works both with the ContentScript knowledge base as well as the more generic knowledge about the syntax of ContentScript and the language ContentScript has been developed with. So this is an example of an integration, as I mentioned. So this is obviously still in beta. We are working on the snippet library. We are improving it, and we are eager to receive your feedback about the performance of the model, etc. One very interesting thing is that obviously we are currently utilizing a version of GPT-3, and as probably all of you know, GPT-4 is already out there. And so the beauty of this integration is that this technology is becoming more and more powerful, more capable, and any integrating into the system, you will basically gain additional functionalities, will improve in performance just with the providers updating their models and APIs, and they are become very powerful right now. Another example that I like to show you is how these services can be integrated into not just the IDE, but can be integrated into the application. So what we did was to develop a generic, obviously, as I mentioned, generic API service. So I didn't show you, but so basically in the ContentScript, you have now an LLM service that you can utilize to leverage the integration and work with their APIs. So LLM offers you the possibility of working with the new API, the generic, as I mentioned, API that are provider agnostic, and the more specific API in this case for OpenAI. And you will be able to consume their API and build the most complex application with their API. But what you can also do, so what we also did was to develop widgets that are ready to be utilized in the context of forms and pages for various purposes. So again, they are very configurable and generic widgets that you can utilize for the most different purposes. So let me show an example of one of these widgets utilized in the context of a form. So what we did here was to basically leverage one of our widgets. So this new widget named AskCar, and we integrated into the form that users can utilize to request, again, authorization to participate to organize events. And again, this is just an example. So it is both what we did with the integration in terms of how we leverage the LLM model, as well as how we leverage the widget, is totally related to this example. Could be something completely different. So what we did with the widget was, and again, the widget is highly configurable, meaning that you can change the way the widget is displayed. So can, as in this case, a bit attached to a single field. So depending on how the field is redimensioned, the widget is also repositioned. You can change the label, you can change the title, you can change the description, you can change the prompt. So you can change basically everything in the widget appearance. You can control how the widget is displayed and in various aspects. And the other important aspect is you can change what the widget does. So obviously the widget is leveraging standard beautiful web forms actions. So it's interacting on server side with a content script. The content script is implementing the business logic. Obviously the widget comes with an example of business logic that you can start from. And it offers you the possibility to utilize the information retrieved from the LLM and from content script in various model. So you will be able to mix and utilize, for example, the result of interacting with the LLM model in order to provide an input for automation implemented with content script. What I did here was just a very simple example. So what we have here is a form that I have to fill in order to provide my manager information about the event I'd like to attend and provide a justification to that event. So what I can also do is to upload on this form maybe an existing justification letter provided me by in this case, OpenText for attending the enterprise world. And what I can do and what we did here is to provide the LLM a context that is made by the structure of the form that we are supposed to fill in, plus all the content of the attachments of this form. So what I can do now is to ask the system, for example, to create a concise justification based on the attachment and also set the due date for the business days before the event, okay? And what the system does is, again, looking at the document, and this is happening in real time. So it's looking at the document, is extracting the information, and is leveraging the information detected from the document in order to adapt the data structure of the form and basically to provide me an easy way to inject this information into the form that I'm supposed to fill in. Okay, so as you see now, the AI answer me and have the possibility to copy the answer or leverage the answer in the automation implemented by the developer. So if I click on the automation, what happened here is that the system extracted all the information related to the event and set the due date accordingly to my request and extracted the information about the event location, the event title, etc. The generative capabilities of these models are great. So they are perfect to summarize the information, and they are perfect to modify the information and elaborate the information that you're working with. So if I want to do something funny, for example, what I can do is to repeat the same question, but this time asking that, or maybe better, precising that my boss would love it if it was written in rhymes. So I'm going to provide my business justification to attend an event, but this time I'm asking the system to extract the same information from the document and compose basically a poem to be sent to my boss. And again, the system is doing exactly that. It's taking the document, extracting the information about the event, extracting information about the justification provided, and is generating a new version of the justification. So let's see what it did. And here you see the poem. So dear boss, hope you are not cross, but I need to attend OpenText Enterprise World 2023, no loss. It's a chance to learn from expert and peers and apply best practices to our organization of peers. And you see, so how it is. The solution was able to, again, rewrite the information about the justification. And again, this widget is very flexible, can be utilized for these kind of things, can be utilized for completely different purpose. So it's really up to you to decide and configure how it should be best implemented. One other thing is that so again, this is just an example. Now you can leverage it. And another way you can leverage this integration, obviously, is into the standard interface. So what I have here is another example in which we were basically embedding this widget, again, this time directly in line into the interface, into a Smart View space. So what I did in this case was to basically create a knowledge base I can utilize to let my users get information from the documents uploaded into the knowledge base. So what I can do from here is just upload a bunch of documents from very different purposes. So I can upload, for example, the transcript from an OpenText presentation. And once the document is there, I can ask him about, for example, what can you tell me about microfocus acquisition? Okay, and so what the system is doing is extracting information from the documents that I've uploaded that are part of the knowledge base and provide me with an answer to my question. And as you will see, also allowing me to see where this answer come from and what were the context this answer come from. So if you look at, so here I can show you. So here is the document, and here is the portion of the text that was utilized to determine the answer. So if you look on the internet, you will find several of these examples. The fact is that with Model Suite, it's tremendously easy to build such an application because the Model Suite sits on the solution that has the digital information. So Extended ECM is obviously your digital content management platform, and Model Suite as a transformation engine has a lot of APIs it can leverage together with the standard APIs in order to extract information, manipulate information, and utilize this information together with these LLM APIs. And the beauty of this example is that I can upload literally any kind of document. So I can literally upload, for example, even a piece of literature. So this is the Prometheus Poesy, which is an masterpiece, and it is a PDF written in Italian. Still, I will be able to ask about, for example, who is Renzo. So Renzo is one of the main protagonists of the book. And again, the system is extracting the information from all the documents that are part of the knowledge base, and we are providing an answer based on the most relevant context. So it's, in this case, again, is extracting the information and is providing me some extract or some information about where we are seeing the this protagonist and what it's doing, etc. And keep in mind, the document that I uploaded is written in Italian, but again, the answer was obviously provided me in the language I asked it for. And here you see where in the book there was references, and you see here is Italian to the character. And what I did here was to leverage all the capabilities of the extended ECM to create this knowledge base in an effective and efficient way. So meaning that the first step of this application is obviously to analyze and understand the documents. And what I did was to transfer this information directly attached utilizing standard functionality of extended ECM. I attach them to the document, meaning that now I can very quickly ask another question and for another protagonist, and as you see, the answer will come way faster. This is because the document has been already processed, and I have basically saved the information into the extended ECM. In this case, as a rendition attached to the single document. So different pieces and different kinds of information available. So this is a very example, and I built this example this morning, so literally in an hour time. So, but you can really imagine how useful that can be if you spend more time in creating and building in such an application. The last thing that I like to show you is what I defined the most ambitious solution that we are developing, working with the integration with these technologies, and is sort of a entire application builder created with the LLM. So again, so this is probably you recognize it is the interface for the Model Suite application builder, a solution that comes with Model Suite that allows you to create applications out of template. We created a new application, a new template that is entirely based on the AI integration. So I can select the folder I want the application to be created in. And what I can now provide here is a very generic prompt related to the application that I want to create. So I have here prompt I can test. So I have to design an application that processes all supplier invoices that are sent to my accounting department. The invoice arrive in digital PDF form. All invoices should be classified, approved for payment, and archived in the system. So what this application builder is going to do is to create tasks that need to be implemented in order to create the application. So you'll see it's creating a task for creating a category, creating a task for creating overflow, creating a task for creating a business workspace, creating a task for creating a document, etc. So there's an entire list of tasks that is going to be created. So this is to be considered the plan for creating the blueprint of the application. And what is going to utilize this blueprint in a second phase 4 is to, as a prompt, to generate the code for the application itself. So for example, here is generating the code for creating the category and satisfy the first task. And it is basically generating all the code for the category. The second task is generating the workflow. So, and is leveraging our unique workflow API to programmatically create the workflow. As you see, is utilizing several scripts to extract the amount from the invoice, to notify the users, to update the payment system, etc. And is defining different streams, lanes, and steps and gateway to take decision, etc. So it's designing the entire workflow. And so basically, once the system will complete this process, you will have a blueprint for creating the entire application starting from, as you've seen, a very simple prompt. So this is obviously the most ambitious integration, the most ambitious leverage of this solution. We are not quite there, meaning that the code that is produced sometimes is still not 100% correct. It still requires a human intervention, supervision. But I can guarantee you, at least from the structure, for example, so the list of tasks, they are on the spot. So they are very appropriate. And it is a very good starting point for creating your own application, okay? And this is, in our opinion, is the next frontier for low coding. So you will be able to interact with this kind of system that will create the entire application or big portion of it automatically, or through just the supervision of a developer instead of having the developer working hard on the system. And again, this is something that as an input, a business user can definitely provide to a developer. So I don't need to be a developer to specify this request. What I can do, but as a business user, though, is to provide the output created by this AI to my developers as a starting point to define what I think is should be a correct application. Okay, and that is it. And I think that is now a good moment to get any question from the audience, if there are any.
Okay, so I hope everyone found that quite insightful and interesting. While we take the Q&A, maybe Gretchen, if you could moderate those. For some reason, I'm not seeing the questions coming up in the panel. So in the meantime, just want to leave our contact details. Feel free to reach out to myself or Joe Stewart, he's our biz dev in North America, if you have any questions, or also to your OT reps. And last, let's say, service message is we will be in Vegas at the OT World in October. So hope to see you there. And I believe we'll probably have some new things to show regarding the AI capabilities leading up to that event as well. So, Gretchen, or I don't know if there's questions in the panel. For some reason, I see the notifications, but it's popping up blank. May you moderate those?
Oh, I answered them already, Paolo. So okay. I answered them already in the chat.
Okay. So unless there's any other questions, thank you very much for everyone's time. I hope this again was of interest, of insight. Also, obviously shows you the direction that we're taking with this technology. And oh, I see a new question has popped in. Oh no, just thank you, thank you as well. So yeah, again, any questions, comments, anything that you'd like to learn more about, maybe a one-to-one demo as well, feel free to reach out, and we're more than happy to have an in-depth discussion.
Another aspect that I'd like to have is if you have any use case you can think about and you might want to discuss with us, if that might be a good fit for this kind of technology. Just reach to us. We are eager to have this kind of conversation. We're eager to understand in which kind of use cases this technology might be applied. There's another question I will answer verbally. If we have Model Suite, do we get car? Is it a separate license? So you get car, absolutely. So the extension package and the work we did around the APIs and the Copilot stuff, etc., is part of the license Model Suite. what you will need an account for, what you need to pay, but is a guarantee is very low cost, is the API that you're going to consume depending on the provider of choice. So for the time being, as mentioned, is only OpenAPI is supported. So you will need to have an account for OpenAPI, and you will have to pay for the APIs that you're going to consume. Are you leverage vector database, Carla? Yes, we are using it. So we are doing something like that, and that was done in the examples where we were analyzing the documents, for example. So to get a sense of let's say the elements or the parts of documents or different documents that were more relevant for the specific prompt. And again, for preserving for computing the embeddings, again, we were leveraging the OpenAPI APIs.
Okay, Patrick, I don't see any other questions pop up.
Great.
Oh. No, there's another one.
So the components and entries of the. Okay, so that will be part of our effort in keeping the solution up to date. So, for example, I talked about the fact that the library snippets is directly utilized as a knowledge base for CAR, and meaning that going back to the previous question, so where the embedding database for the library snippets will be maintained from us and delivered as part of the product, so directly. So as for today is as long as we are going to update some components, at the same time we're going to update, for example, the vectorial database that it's required for CAR to detect what is the most appropriate snippet to utilize in the context of, for example, writing scripts or, for example, creating elements of the user interface.
Okay.
Okay, I have my audio back. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. I'm not seeing any new questions in the Q&A, but while we're waiting just to see if there are any further questions, I just want to remind you that if you want to check out our recording, you'll be able to see that within the next 48 hours at opentext.com/events. And we do have a question. When will the recording of this be posted? So there we go. In the next couple of days, you'll be able to see that. And you'll also receive an email with a link to the recording that you'll be able to reference. I will say that if you have any suggestions or questions or, like I said, suggestions for topics or products you'd like to see covered in future webinars, or you have questions about this, of course, you've got contact information for answer modules on your screen, but you can also reach out to us at partners@opentext.com at any time. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions. Paolo or Paula, did you want to say anything to wrap up?
No, again, thank you. And I believe this will be one of probably many sessions in which we show some of these capabilities. To always stay up to date with what's coming out from answer modules, follow us on LinkedIn, and I also encourage you to check out our showcase portal, where it shows quite a bit of examples of what can be accomplished with Module Suite in general, not just related to AI and LLM.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again to Paula and Paolo and Patrick from Answer Modules. Thank you all for your attendance today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. All the best.
Thanks, everyone.